Hi, my name is BJ Bollier, and I'm with the MHA Foundation. I'm a proud MHA board member here in Payson, and today I get the opportunity to visit with Joylnn, another MHA board member here in Payson, and get to learn a little bit about us.
Hi, I'm Joylnn. I've been in Payson, we've been in Payson, my family and I, for almost 18 years now. We moved here from Sierra Vista, Arizona, when my husband became the superintendent of the Payson Hotshots. So he moved our family up here. And during all these years, I've really enjoyed helping serve the community. We have 5 children and been very invested in the schools throughout the years, served on the PTO, school board, did a small little stint on the town council. And so now I've transitioned over to the MHA, which I'm really enjoying because it's a little bit more of you're servicing the community, but you're not out in the spotlight every second of every day. So I'm really enjoying that aspect of it.
It's awesome. Again, I am BJ Bollier. I am a lifelong Payson resident. I grew up in Whispering Pines, Arizona. I'm a father. I'm a husband. I love this community just about as much as anybody, I believe. I served on the Mayor's Youth Advisory Council in 7th grade. And from that time on, I've known that Payson is the place that I wanted to make my life. I'm blessed to raise a family here and have kids in school here. My wife's a school teacher. I get to coach youth sports and just do all the amazing things in a small town you might get to do. The foundation for me is the golden ticket. It allows a Payson kid who grew up with not every opportunity to allow Payson kids more opportunities. So it's my Robin Hood moment to get to be a part of this foundation and get to do it in Payson. I love that more and more people over the last few years have gotten to see how special this place is. And as we grow, we're growing with more and more people that are excited for where Payson's going. So I just feel like it's onward and upward for our little town, and the MHA Foundation is such a great fit for Payson itself. Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
What made you want to get involved with the MHA Foundation? You talked about it a little bit, but what really made you want to do that?
Well, years ago, it must be roughly about a decade, probably before you were on the board, I was the co-president of the JRE PTO. And at that time, the school had a dust bowl for a playground. There was absolutely nothing out there for them to play on. And my co-president, Audrey Hogue, and I, we got together and we did a lot of fundraising, and I think we had about 40,000, 50,000 we had fundraised ourselves, and we started reaching out to other organizations to help us. And very thankfully, we had MSA help us, and also MHA in connection with the Gracie Lee Hott Foundation. And they gave us $55,000. And so I was very grateful for that opportunity because we were just able to transform that playground. And you should have seen the first day the kids ran out on that playground. It was amazing. And so just that generosity and just all the good things they do throughout, throughout the community, the medical side, the educational side. And so I just wanted to continue serving the community, but in a much more low-profile way. Yeah. And this seemed like a really good fit. Plus, all the people on the board are amazing.
We have an amazing board for sure. My story's a little different, but I love to tell it. So my wife and I owned a health food store in Payson from the years 2007 until the years 2015. And I remember in 2007 or 8, at that time, Mogollon Health Alliance coming to us and asking my wife to speak at the Women's Wellness Forum. She had a background in nutrition, so it was a perfect fit. And as she worked at the Women's Wellness Forum that first year, she noticed that donuts were the breakfast. And being a nutrition person, she was like, donuts at the breakfast? And so she went to the board and said, what can we do here? And they said, be honest, that's a donation. We're a very small nonprofit. We don't have the ability to do anything beyond that. And so my wife said, well, let's do breakfast. Let's cater breakfast for the Mogollon Health Alliance, for the Women's Wellness Forum. So starting in 2007, our little store catered the breakfast every year for that. And that turned into the Health and Care Fair and many other events. My wife ended up volunteering before I did for MHA, but I always think back to that first year, and we didn't have a lot of money either, so it was an oatmeal bar station. I remember we had crock pots of oatmeal for all the attendees and all these different toppings, and it was a huge hit, and everybody went crazy for it. I got to see then what this organization was trying to accomplish. That was kind of a boots on the ground, folks without insurance, folks without health care, learning about health the easiest way. So it was really cool back then to get that opportunity. And then over the years, being in a small town, you always see ways that you can get to help. And you get to see, like you said, the huge impact the organization can have. So super honored to get to do anything we do with MHA, for sure.
Absolutely.
So education and wellness are at the heart of what we do, right? Everybody knows that in our community. Those are such important things in my mind to any thriving community. I said before we started, any successful community that I've ever visited, health and wellness are at the forefront. And that's parks, and that's recreation, and that's healthy, vibrant citizens. And to me, that's what the Foundation's antithesis is. We are trying to put those roots in this town so that those two things, health and wellness, always come to the forefront. And then they look a lot of different ways, whether we're in the public schools, we're in the community college, we're working with the local hospital and their nursing programs or their residency programs. There's so many different facets to a healthy and vibrant community. I like the take that we've taken as a foundation on those directions and making sure that our kids are healthy, our folks have access to affordable health care, and that if there's a need, we fill it, like the playground, for example, which was huge. And still to this day, the kids are still using, right? Mm-hmm. Still to this day, the kids are using. Okay, this next one.
What I like, though, on the educational side, we do a lot of great things. Like my daughter's in AVID with the nursing program, and so we've got that, and she's going to have a certification when she graduates, and she can go right into a lower level career path if she wants to, and go from there. But also we do small things such as kindergartners at the end of the school year. They'll come to us and ask us to fund t-shirts. So all the kids are there the last day with the same t-shirts. Or we go into the high school and we provide breakfast or bring them out for some sort of a snack or something, and just a little bit of like camaraderie type time together.
You make a good point, because I think often we get thought of as the big projects. We're building a park. Mm-hmm. We've got properties that we're developing around the community, and you see those big things. Some of my favorites are the small things too. Mm-hmm. Still to this day, back to the kindergarten shirts, you'll see kids wearing those same shirts around town. It's a small thing for the foundation to do, but it makes a big impact. And I guess that's the coolest thing that I've found over the years is this foundation has the ability to see within other organizations' potential. And fund that potential, maybe even in a small way that can grow to something big. Well,
and I'm learning this part of it, as the longer I'm on the board, but the medical side of things, working with Siri and bringing in residents, and I mean, that is a really big deal, because we're trying to get people in here that love our town as much as we do and want to stay here.
Right.
So we have physicians and specialties, and so that's what we're working on, and those are kind of the things that people don't really know about.
And what I'll take it a step further. I often get to tell the story on where did you guys start? And people don't realize in the 1950s, a few women in Payson bringing a doctor to town once a month because we had no consistent health care here. So us supporting the hospital and the doctors and the nurses and making sure they stay is what we started. It's what started us. We started with seeing a need that this community didn't have a full-time physician. Mm-hmm. How could we fix it?
Right.
Right? And so I think it's so cool that here we are 70 plus years later, and we're still tackling keeping quality health care in a rural community. And other rural communities around the state and around the western United States have taken notice of the foundation and of Siri and the roadmap that we've shown what an organization with the right people in place can do for a community in so many different ways.
Well, and it takes those people that have that initiative and that their strategic planning, and they're thinking way far in advance of, and that's what's so great. We're building for 10 years out, 15, 20 years out, not just right this moment, but where do we want to be down the road?
Well, and I think that's it. You often get to talk about all the fun things we get to do and all the lives we get to impact. One of our main responsibilities is that this foundation continues in perpetuity for this community. In other words, that this foundation continues to do all the good it's done as long as it possibly can. And so those decisions have to be long-sighted. We can't possibly only think about the right now when we're trying to protect the investment of Payson's future. I think that's huge. I have another question for you.
Oh, gosh.
Come on. This one's a good one.
Okay, tell me.
Okay. Share a story or an experience that made you extremely proud.
The greatest joy, take DECA, for example. We help them go on their trip over to, where'd they go?
Europe?
New York.
Yeah, New York City, that's right.
Wasn't it New York or
It
something?
was. You're right.
So they went out to New York or something, and they had the time of their lives. And some of those kids have never traveled, maybe out of the city or out of state, and so it's a really big deal. When they come back and they thank us and they share their experiences, that is so rewarding. And also, what about the little ranch one-day event?
Duker Ranch,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, where the kids come back.
Absolutely.
You and I both have those plaques that the kids
Yeah, we
made.
do.
They're still hanging up on the door frames in my
true.
house. And so those kind of things when they come back. And so I kind of like the little things where I see the sparkle in the kids' eyes. I'm all about children.
Yeah.
So I love the sparkle in their eyes when they come back and thank us for helping them for those things that really, for them, it's a lot of money. But it's not like the $55,000 that
Right.
you guys help with the playground. So it's the little things.
I think that's, I get asked the question a lot when I get to go in and speak at the schools. Why? Why does MHA do this? Why are you doing what you're doing? Because I think for a young person especially, when a stranger comes in and says, I want to help you, I want to make sure you have the opportunity to graduate high school with an AA. I want to make sure your parents aren't burdened with that financially. I want to make sure you have the ability to play any sport you want to play here locally, and we're going to make, those things, there's a why. The kid, you don't know me. And for me to be able to look back at them in the eye and say, because one day you might be in a position like I'm in.
Yeah,
One day you might decide that this is the place your family should be.
you're right.
So really, those things that we do that are so small can have a huge impact on the right life. And it's those little things, I think, that keep us coming back as board members. The grand things are so grand, but also there's so much blood, sweat, and tears in those.
Yeah.
We got to do a class call out a few weeks ago, and I did bean and cheese burritos for 75 kids.
Yeah.
And you might think bean and cheese burritos for 75 kids isn't a big deal. Trust
Yeah.
me, it made those kids' day. And it happened to fall on a day when those kids were struggling.
Yeah.
So we came in, did bean and cheese burritos. They said, why? Again, why are you doing this? I said, you didn't have to come to school today. You showed up and came to school, and I want you to know as a community, we're excited for that.
Yeah.
And that you made a choice that's going to better you, and we're going to reward that choice. They loved it. Yeah. I had a better day after that. Got to give about 75 bean and cheese burritos to high school kids. Yeah. I think sometimes the smallest impacts and stories we have are the most powerful, but we just don't get to tell them as often, right? And they seem to excite us the most for sure, right?
Yes.
The playground, so momentous, because I think if anybody could have seen the previous.
Of everything I've done in Payson, that is by far, yeah.
And that's a great opportunity to show how the foundation can work jointly with other organizations. I think of many different calls we've gotten from the schools and different groups, not asking the foundation particularly for something, but saying, hey, we've spoken with MSA, RV&3, yourselves, and we've raised ourselves, all this. Is there any way that you could bridge the gap?
Yep.
And MHA loves to be the yeast in that way.
Oh, those partnerships that we have.
Makes the biggest difference for sure. All right, our last one.
Okay.
MHA Foundation's been supporting local schools and wellness initiatives for years. What impact do you hope the foundation has on the future? The impact I hope it has on the future is for as many people as possible to get to enjoy this amazing place. We live in such a unique place and we're so blessed. Resources are one thing that we do lack. When you live in a rural area like ours, the beauty is not the issue. But a lot of times the infrastructure and resources are. What the foundation is providing is the ability to bridge that, to make the future for Payson a place that anybody could live with quality doctors and health care, but also a quality of life for our kids. I often talk to surgeons and the families as they're talking about moving here. And they'll say blankly, well, what is there for families? Mm-hmm. How are your schools? Those things are so important to families. But not just to the families of doctors, to everybody. And so my hope for the future of Payson is that this foundation puts the roots in place so that, one, our organization can continue to do these great things, but mostly that Payson has the opportunity to thrive with quality health care and quality services for our citizens. That to me is the dream for the future, and however that needs to look, I would be malleable to.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, there's so many challenges with living in Payson. You know, it's expensive, and sometimes we don't have the right specialties, and so you have to go to the valley, and so there's lots of, and right now there's not a whole lot for families in town. That's reality. And so for the future, anything we can do to help excite people to come here that bring value to our community. Again, like you just talked about the physicians, if they start off as residents and they fall in love right there and then maybe they'll stay and, raise their families here. And anyway, so that's what I'm hoping for. That just those small things, because we do a lot of small things in the background that we're just starting, new initiatives, small things, but once they come to fruition, it's going to really benefit Payson. So it's very exciting.
Can I tell you what an honor it is to serve with you?
You too.
As a Payson kid, I serve amongst giants. Everybody's come from these careers and these lives, and I'm a Payson kid. Graduate of Payson High School, Eastern Arizona College, It's just a real honor to get to serve with you, and I'm excited to see where we get to go.
You too. And our whole board. I mean, honestly, I can't say it enough.
Absolutely.
We've got the absolute best board in the world, and I love working with every single one of them.
It's nice to have varying opinions and be able to still get the job done.
Of course. Yes.
Thank you, Joylnn. I enjoyed it
Thanks,
today.
BJ.
Thanks.
Okay.